Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Oh, Tuesday, you're for glorious. Welcome. Are you talking about Florida basketball before we can get to the part where we do the NBA for an hour?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to get anything off your chest?
No, we're 5. It's just our schedule is unruly.
Unruly?
Yeah.
Wow.
5 and 3. Now we got 5 UConn tonight. It's just whatever.
I'm sorry, Taylor.
Tested.
I hope you get through it.
Won't be do.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Lou doesn't care.
You don't
Nor do
understand
I.
college hoops, Lou. All right, not all of us went straight to the league.
That is actually fair.
That's all I got.
We have some NBA to get to today. Sam Amick will be on a little bit later on in the show. And as should be done more, we start with the Spurs. Although this was a little bit of a weird game because they were up by like 25 at one point and then it became very, very close. But they did get the win, 135-132. Harrison Barnes with 24. Dylan Harper with a career-high 22 points. Mr. Queen had 33, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 blocks. But it was not the prettiest game of the season. Chandler, I'm going to start with you. 8-3 with Wemby not playing yet. I mean, we don't talk about how deep this team is, do we?
We should, and again, any team not named the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think that's the only team with more depth than this team. You look at their, stat sheet every single night. They can go 10, 11, 12 deep. They can interchange their starting lineup. They're so versatile at that guard spot where some questions on how they were going to work Fox in early on, how are they going to get Harper's development going with him, with Stephon Castle kind of taking that next jump, and they've just done it seamlessly, and they play defense, and again, they're obviously a much better defensive team with Wemby in the lineup, but they're finding ways to get stops. They go to small ball pretty early. Luke Cornett's been solid for him in his absence, so they're really a plug-and-play team, and they play so hard, and those guards are really, really good.
What do you think, Lou? Wait, what are you writing over there? Ooh, we're getting...
Keywords. He's a big keyword guy.
I'm a big keyword guy because as I'm listening to Chandler, I'm agreeing with him about the Spurs. And the things that I'm writing down is they play the right way. You can plug and play guys. They play hard. Who cares how you get it done? Like San Antonio is one of those type of organizations where they can bring in guys that you may not have heard of and they turn them into household names because of the style of play that they have, as an organization and as a team. One of the deeper teams, and, some of these guys, I've learned about them this year by watching them and being connected. But that's what the San Antonio Spurs are, and that's what they represent. So I was writing down some key words, trying to get my mind flowing as far as the San Antonio Spurs were concerned.
Love keywords.
I mean, I think this is tradition at this point. This is an organization that has shown time and time again that they know how to do it the correct way through the draft, through development, through keeping, drafted talent in home, all of the above. So I'm not surprised by this group. Once again, they struck gold. They got a fine young group that they can move forward, has a bright future, and this was just a prime example of it. So I'm not surprised by it at all. We saw it with Duncan. We saw it with the teams before that. This is an organization that is known to do it this way, and they'll continue to do so. That's why they're so
They
successful.
also have so many players like Vassell, I think if they were elsewhere, like Keldon Johnson, I think their roles could be so much bigger. They'd get more recognition. They'd average more points, but it doesn't seem like it bothers this group. And I think that's just the DNA of this franchise, this organization, and the culture that they have and that they're accustomed to, where they're all just bought in. And you kind of get that feeling when you watch them play.
And you know what else? A lot of those guys, they're not stupid either. We're at the right place at the right time. Right next to Wemby. Yeah. We know that this is going to be a special opportunity for us to have a big-time chance at winning a lot of basketball games, possibly competing for a championship, and having a chance to further your careers and further your legacy. A lot of these guys, So even if you're not the guy and you're not the household name, you're going to be a part of the legacy. Think about how many guys in the San Antonio Spurs history that we've talked about, that we consider legends, the Robert Ory's of the world, the Tony Parkers of the world, and all of these guys. And they're great players and doing their jobs and doing their part as well, but they always were standing next to giants, but it worked for everybody. A lot of these guys have that same opportunity with standing next to Wemby.
And when you look at like a big trade package, like for a Giannis or something like that, there's so many guys on this team that make that deal enticing for the Bucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Jeremy Sohan, we don't even really talk about him with this team.
It's been a weird year.
He's a valuable asset. Like, he's someone that's so young that he's got so much more potential. Vassell, Johnson, Harper, Castle, like there's so many pieces to this team where they're good enough
Julian
now.
Champagny is like
Champagny's like a real player. Like, he's a real starting
He was
level
somebody
player.
else I was thinking of. I didn't want to mess his name up on air.
I got it. Yeah.
But since we've said it, very talented player. Shoot the hell out of the ball.
Yeah, like
Harrison Barnes, like these are. This is a
It's
crazy
a lot of
time.
value on this team. So,
I also, by the way, shout out Dan Weiss and Jacob Toby. This is my own personal, because they both took over play-by-play roles, both on TV and radio this year, starting with Jacob a little bit last year. Talk about right time, right place for a gig that you can do for the next 20, 25, 30 years if you really want to. So to me, it's an awesome time to be around San Antonio. It was also the first time last night Fox, Castle, and Harper were all available at the same time. And you kind of mentioned it, Chandler, as well. And Lou, I want to get your take on this. All the concerns, all the worries, would it work, won't it work? It seems to be okay.
And that's us being us, right? Like, we create these conversations.
Created problems before they even happen.
Before they even happen. We were having a De'Aaron Fox conversation before he played a game.
We really did.
Yeah, and that's our fault, and that's our bad. The San Antonio Spurs have proven we just want the best players that can play. We don't care if they're like size. We don't care if they're the same position. We don't care about any of that. We got a 7'7" alien that's going to be able to clean up a lot of the holes that we have on the defensive and the offensive end. So they just find guys that know how to go out there, play the right way, play together, and give themselves an opportunity to win basketball games. So I don't care about Fox, Castle, and Harper being point guards and shooting guards. They go out there, they play the right way, they take advantage of the opportunities when they have the basketball in their hands, and everybody looks like they're on a chain and they're linked together on a defensive end. Other than that, what's the problem?
Yeah, and they're so different. Like Stephon Castle, to me, he's the X factor of those three because he although he is technically a guard, this dude can guard the four-man. This guard can switch 1 through 5. Like, his versatility defensively kind of eliminates any of these problems with having a 3-guard smaller lineup just because of his defense and his toughness and the way he plays. So it's a great combo to have that, you know, electric speed and transition with Fox, a kind of a do-it-all guard in Harper, and then this versatile, you know, kind of bigger guard in Castle. They can play them a lot together, and I can see them starting to play more minutes together with these three on the lineup, especially these three, and then with like a Champagny or Barnes with Wemby. Like, they have so many different lineups they could throw at.
They're not as small as we're saying they are. Like, 2 of these guys are 6'6", 6'7".
Right.
They're not small point guards, and they're not small shooting guards either. Like, they have a lot of size at these positions. So I think out of the 3, Fox may be the shortest guy at 6'4". So you have a lot of size, you have a lot of length that you can go to that works for them, and it doesn't even matter what position that they play.
I mean, it still falls, for me, it still falls on the organization. Like I said, we've seen this time and time again. They'll continue to have guys that, at the end of the day, they care about playing for one another and not just for themselves. This is a prime example. No matter what lineup you find, these guys find a way to mesh. They find a way to, you know, make things work, and the flow is seamless. So it still falls on the organization for me. They do a great job of drafting the right type of guys. They know what they're looking for in their talents, and they continue to show they're making the right choices.
Don't you just know, like, Harper's going to be good because he's on the Spurs? Like, you know,
feels pretty
it's safe.
secure. Yeah.
Like, it's you know he's going to be turned into a professional. You know he's going to, you know, practice, play the right way, play unselfish, play defense. Like, you just know this culture that they have. He's going to be brought up through the league the right way, which is, you don't say that about a lot of other teams.
You can't say
so
that.
it's like,
That's the best situation for any young guy.
like, picture Wemby. Like,
I was
going
going to say, we felt like that about Wemby. It was like,
this is great.
Perfect.
It's perfect, yeah.
Even if I wasn't a complete total homer about it, like, I still would think that. I'd be like, wow, that's a really good spot.
Totally
Like,
get it.
yeah, even if I didn't like love Sohan's game, the fact that they love his game makes me like him more because they know some shit I don't know. Like, you know what I mean?
They're figuring that one out too. He's kind of had like a weird bit of a roller coaster these last couple seasons. So we'll figure that one out.
They trust him. Why, who are we to not?
They look. Remember when he was shooting these? Well, he's got his free throws back to like a normal sort of.
It's not one hand anymore?
No, he's not doing it that way anymore. So that's interesting. It's called evolution. Can we look at the Pelican side for a second? Because I do believe it was about a month ago, beginning of the season, when everyone was questioning the Derek Queen situation and what was Joe Dumars thinking when he doesn't have a protected pick in place for that and gets him over there. And then last night has a pretty decent night. 5th player in NBA history with a 30-point triple-double before he even turns 21. Boogie, were we a little too quick to sort of judge Queen and his abilities?
I don't think it was more so judgment on Queen. I think it was just a situation of being mad at Joe Dumars. at the time. Queen has been a talent his whole young career, through high school, obviously now college at Maryland. This kid is a huge talent, and obviously he put that on display last night. I'm actually a huge fan of him because he has a lot of similarities to me with, you know, being a bigger sized guy, being able to move, handle the ball, show different, you know, skills on the floor. So he put that on full display last night. This is a true young talent, and I'm excited for his future.
I love his game, and I think you hear Tim Duncan and greats talk about his game and how much he can improve and kind of the versatility in games like last night where he does a little bit of everything. The problem is, bro, they sent an unprotected first-round pick, and they are 3-22. Like, that could be the #1 pick that they gave up.
Might be a regret.
For him. So, again, that's not his fault, and he's doing everything he can in a season filled with tons of negativity. He's kind of the only bright spot that we can talk about here besides the little guard. But the unprotected first-round pick, and you're 3-22. I don't care who you're.
Just little guard somebody.
I'm just saying. Fears is his name.
I know, just funny.
But an unprotected first-round pick.
Well, that's probably.
And you're the worst team in the conference, one of the worst teams in the NBA, and that's looking like a top 5 pick at worst. That's a ballsy move to make for a late lottery pick.
That's why it had such a.
And this kid's good, and he's gonna be good. He's got a little boogie, he's got a little Zebo in him. Like, he can pass, he can move, he can get the defensive rebound, bring it. Like, he has got game, but that could be the #1 pick.
Well, you hope that it won't be, I guess. Is all you can do from here on out is just hope.
That's the only dicey part about it.
Yeah, that part was probably a bit of a risk. There were only 3 games last night, by the way. It's and only 2 tonight, so there's going to be time to talk about everything. We do want to talk about the Suns. What in the world? Man, none of us know anything, because here we are. Suns with a nice win over the T-Wolves, 108-105. Colin Gillespie, 11 of his 19 came in the fourth quarter. Mark Williams with 22. Anthony Edwards had 40, which is his 5th 40-point game this season. And then Gobert was ejected. We will get to that one with the flagrant 2 on Williams. But this thing was tied at 84 at the end of 3. And then Colin Gillespie just comes up big in the 4th. 11 of the 24 total points for the Suns were scored by him. And so I'm wondering, I love that we're going to do this, because he's white. Is he their Austin Reeves, Lou?
Listen, I'm not getting involved in that.
He's undrafted.
Yeah, I'm not getting involved in that. But the kid can play, can really play. I like the fact that he knows angles. He attacks gaps. He's one of the type of guys, you throw him the basketball at the three-point line, he's not going to settle for the 3. He can put it on the ground. He can make plays for other guys. He made Mark Williams look like a lob threat last night. Can finish at the rim, and he got range. So the kid got a lot of game, and he went undrafted, and to be in this position, you know, to have an opportunity to play some really good minutes, some minutes that mean something, and to make the most of them. You know, I look forward to seeing what else that he can build from his career. But last night he had a hell of a night, and if it wasn't for him, we might be having a different conversation. So shout out to Colin for what he's been able to accomplish, averaging about 13.5 on a year, 18 in the last 11 games. That he can stay like that. Consistency. They got a really good player in Gillespie.
Yeah, the numbers don't the numbers don't lie. And this kid, he was undrafted, but he was a stud in college. Remember, I think he was like player of the year twice. Because he's a slow white guy in comparison, you know what I mean? That's probably why I think the ceiling, you thought it was there. And it is funny to compare him to like a Peyton Pritchard or an Austin.
It's what we do, apparently.
Yeah, it's just what everyone does. And there are similarities, but this is not a fluke. He did this earlier in the week, or last week, here in LA against the Lakers, where him and Dylan Brooks just went berserk. And they obviously have more opportunity now when Devin Booker's out, when Jalen Green's out, and they are taking advantage of all their opportunity. And watch him. It's not a fluke. This kid can play, and again, he is versatile. He's a bigger guard. He plays at his own pace. He got to be fun to play with too, because he's dropping dimes and finding the open man, making the right play. So it's not a fluke, and I think you're going to continue to see him get better and better as the season goes on.
I mean, I'm more so impressed with just him taking advantage of his opportunities, being undrafted, coming in, taking on this assignment with leading a professional basketball team, and, you know, just doing it gracefully. So shout out to him, like Lou said. So, you know, this should be an example for all young players coming in, just being ready, being prepared, taking advantage of your opportunity. And I think he's done a great job with that. But overall, I'm also impressed with the Suns in general.
Right?
I mean, losing a talent like Kevin Durant, losing a talent like, you know, Bradley Beal, and I think everybody had them signed off this season. So the fact that they're putting together a pretty decent season as of right now, guys are in and out of the lineup. They're a little banged up. I'm not sure what's really going on with the young fella, Jalen Green. I haven't heard much about him this season, but all in all, I mean, they're having a pretty impressive season.
Yeah.
Grayson Allen's been great. Dylan Brooks
Allen.
having a career year. Mark Williams with the whole trade thing last and health. He's been healthy and he's been good when he's on the floor. So this is and it's a first-year coach too, right? So like
That's a big part of it.
They are bought in and they are playing the right way.
And I'm sorry, pardon my ignorance, but is this the same Mark Williams that was supposed to be a Laker?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That weird.
That got red flag.
Had to fly
That
cross
because they were so
country.
worried, and now he's cooking.
Yeah, and by the way, you're like you said, Jalen Green.
13 and 9.
No Devin Booker last night. It's a very fun watch right now.
Does Gillespie remind you of like a TJ McConnell?
You know what? Moving on. Boogie, you know I'm going to ask you first on this one. We got a Rudy Gobert moment last night. Speaking of Mark
let's
Williams,
get your
by the
take
way,
on this, Boog.
Bit of a hit from Mark to Rudy. And then a few possessions later, you get another moment, and the hand goes up. It does end up being a flagrant 2, and he does get kicked out. Dirty play, yay? No? What are we looking at?
I don't think that's dirty at all. What? Whoa, what's up?
That is.
It's
Just waiting to see what I got.
I'm here for the vibes, dog.
Honestly,
Run that back. That is. I love.
Do it again.
in today's game, that's considered,
I like how he does it and puts his hands up.
Immediately hands up.
That's just a hard foul. I mean, in today's game, it's too much. It's a hard foul. I wouldn't consider. I've seen dirty plays, but we've seen dirty plays.
That's not a dirty play.
Bro,
That's
he's
minimal.
in the air
That's
taking
minimal.
a rib,
Does it
a
qualify?
kidney shot
It's
with the
levels
bow.
In today's
It's
game, it
levels to a dirty
qualifies.
play.
It
It's levels
qualifies
to a
as a
dirty
dirty
play.
This isn't anything
Look.
over the top.
That's
Like,
a
come on, bro.
Boogie.
I mean, it seems a little hard.
When I
Did he
came in the
embellish?
league, this
This
was
is a defensive player of the year that's
get
also
it.
7 feet that can
I
meet
get
him
it.
at the rim.
Yeah, why didn't
and
he do
instead,
that?
You decided to put your
I didn't
forearm
say
in
he
the
didn't
Also-
deserve to get the flagrant two.
You just
All
said
I
it-
said
it's
was
minimal.
That's minimal.
What we're
That's
missing
not-
here,
Why
too,
not
is
go
this
for the
was straight
block?
retaliation because he just got slapped.
Straight.
in the head the
Exactly.
day before,
That's
so-
what big men do.
But
right?
this is malicious, so you know he did this on purpose.
He did it on purpose,
Yeah,
but
it's
that
not
is
a,
nothing.
It's not a play on
Can
the
I ask a dumb question? Why not go for the block and have like a double get back? That's more revenge. If you no,
Because he wanted to make sure that
He wanted-
Mark
he
knew
wanted to
he
feel
wanted his
some
lick
pain.
back.
Yeah, he wanted
Well,
his lick
simple
back.
and
He's
plain.
one
He wanted his
flagrant
lick
away
back.
from a game suspension and a flagrant 2 away from a 2
Now
game
that makes
suspension.
I don't think
now that
that's
makes the
hard.
foul stupid.
So now we're going to be watching.
That makes it stupid.
You act like this is a
It
guy
ain't even
that
gotta be a
can't
dirty play. Now it's a
not
stupid
avoid
play.
that. Like, he'll avoid it.
I don't understand why you act surprised afterwards, too. Like, throw your hands up, and when you watch the review, you're, like, shocked at the result. You know damn well what you just did was a flagrant foul.
Yeah, it's all part of showmanship. It's weird. It's really weird. That was a weird one.
I've seen worse.
But the fact, that he got 5 of these already, though, is kind
Which
of
is
crazy.
kind of nuts.
He's a big man. Like,
That ain't no excuse.
he's
I
trying
think he's
to change.
vengeful.
Rudy, I appreciate your efforts. I appreciate you trying to change the
I
narrative.
saw this going the other
Look,
way.
I really saw this going the other
I
way.
see what the
I
kid
like
is
it.
doing.
You turning a new leaf. I like
I see what he's
maturing?
doing. I try. I try to better myself
turned
every
a new
single
leaf.
day.
I like it.
But I feel like
Called
this is him.
evolution, Bees. It's
Exactly. I feel like he's trying to change the narrative. You know, obviously he's been labeled, soft and things of that nature. I think this is him changing the narrative on his name. I'm not mad at it. I don't think it was over the top. Was it a flagrant 2? Yes, he got the results, whatever. But this is him changing the narrative.
I'm not mad at it.
I'm not
mad at all, but it was dirty as hell.
Yeah, I think it's.
We've
I
seen
think
worse.
It can be
No
all
doubt.
of the things.
I'm just saying. that-
Did we not see Andrew Bynum take out JJ Barea? Like, that was dirty.
It's a little unfair, yeah.
But
That's minimal.
but He pushed somebody that's in his weight class. If I get fouled with that same push right there, I'm out 4 to 6 weeks.
You're in the third row.
I'm 4 to 6. I'm out the weight class. They the same size, so that works for them.
You know what? I
I'm
will
not
say
mad
this.
at the results. He
In
got what he deserved.
In
Cool.
defense of Boogie,
That
I
was
listened to like the radio calls and the TV calls last night, and it was such a quick, real-time moment that even the guys calling the game for Phoenix were like, "Oh wait, no, that is like they didn't see it the first time either."
It's minimal.
So
That's
it
what
was.
I'm saying.
Are we not upset at all that he got tossed and they lost by 3 points?
I think he got what he deserved.
I'm saying, is that a bigger problem that he's not on the floor for his team?
Ant says that after
He
the
probably
game.
was going to be off the floor anyway in crunch time.
There he is. There he is.
There it is. He's back,
You
baby.
took that mask off. You took that mask off you've been wearing for 2
Y'all are
minutes.
sick.
It's only a matter of time, Boogie. We got
We
you.
just poked him until he said something crazy.
Anthony Edwards, we mentioned, had the 40 points, and he's had multiple of those. But Minnesota right now against teams with losing records, or I'm sorry, with winning records, are 2-8. So that's a little problematic, Chandler, if he's doing what he's doing and you still can't figure out a way to get these wins.
Yeah, they're just inconsistent, right? They're a high-volume offensive team. They take a lot of long twos. They're inefficient. And when Anthony Edwards goes nuts, they usually play well.
Good,
They usually finish games, but what's going on here? But no, I think that, again, they have so much talent and they do have the capability to be really good on both sides of the ball. But it's tough when your star player does this and goes 15 to 21, has one of his better efficient nights, drops 40, and you still lose a game. It's not a great sign, especially when you have the other team's best 2 players out. It just feels like it's a maturity level game to take your foot off the gas, and to cough this one up was bad. But again, this is what they've kind of been doing. 2-8 against teams above 500 is not what you want to see. You want to see the opposite of that.
Well, I'm sorry, Boogie. The style of play. They got to figure it out. Like Julius Randle is the guy that's leading your team in assists right now. So that's telling me that he's bringing the ball up the floor, he's initiating the offense, and this is your 4 doing that. He needs to be someone where you throw him the ball 18 to 20 feet from the rim, and he's able to put pressure on you, and he's able to be aggressive. But when you're putting him in a position to play outside of the three-point line, it's going to be tough to win basketball games like that down the stretch. And so, you know, we've had the conversation about the Timberwolves needing a point guard and needing somebody to really set the table for all of these guys that they have, and it's starting to show. I don't know if they're going to be able to compete at the top of the West with the rest of the teams with this style of play and having your 4 being the leader in assist. If that's like, it works for Jokic, right?
Right.
It works for some teams, but the style of play with Julius Randle, he needs to be an aggressor, not the person that's setting the table for everybody else.
Right. I feel like this team just has a cap on it right now, and I think it's kind of where it's a log jam in their forwards and big man. I think with that situation, it doesn't allow this team to continue to grow. I think the biggest thing they're missing is a high-level PG to go next to Anthony Edwards. I think that'll open up his game tremendously. It'll take a lot of pressure off of him. And it takes the leash off of having so many plays where he's responsible for being the playmaker as well. So I think that's the issue right now. I think they have to make a decision on what they want to do with their forwards and bigs moving forward. I think that also takes that cap off from them and allows this team to continue to grow and actually reach their potential. So I think that's a situation they're going to have to figure out sooner rather than later. And once that's done, I think we see the better days of Anthony Edwards.
Better days ahead, ladies and gents. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, Sam AMICK is back on the show. We'll talk to him next.
Run it back, run it up, run it back.
I wish we could talk to you about what we just were talking about.
Ask.
But you know what? I'm going to do it. Sam, on the spot right now. Sam AMICK joining us from The Athletic. Who's the most handsome man that exists in the world?
I wasn't
right
a part
now?
of this conversation.
Yeah, topic 2. What are we doing next?
Yeah.
I named like 6.
Chandler said Tom
Sam,
Hardy.
you passed the test, Sam.
We're just trying to figure it out.
Congrats, you passed the test.
Thank you, Lou.
Let's move
This
on.
isn't a trick question.
Yes, it is.
Do
Let's
we have
move
real
on.
answers?
Yeah, real answers.
All right, yeah, let's move on. I agree
You know
with
what?
you.
You guys are the worst.
You guys are boring.
No, I'm not going to move on. All right, rumors. Let's talk about, you know we're starting with Giannis. Because every single day there are 37 of those graphics on Instagram with would you and who says no to this trade. So here we are. Number 1, has he actually asked for a trade out of Milwaukee yet?
Man, it's a tricky question. Michelle, I mean, the answer last summer is yes. You know what I mean? Like, they had real conversations about the Knicks. You had a one-team list where he expressed a desire to play with the Knicks. It was such a clunky situation, though, because by the time that request was granted or was kind of lobbied, the Knicks were looking at their team like, we think we're title contenders, and they weren't thinking about things like that. It was late in the summer. They didn't have the machinations to do something, and it didn't really go anywhere. Right now, you're talking about a gray area situation where the frustration reached a really high level. But I think, you know, what you're kind of hinting at is that there's been some pushback on the idea that he asked for a trade again. I mean, the team has indicated that was not the case. His camp has been a little bit mixed about it, you know, and obviously he's hurt now. And then he comes out with his messaging that he wants to run through a wall and make it work, you know, kind of where his feet are planted right now. I think the bottom line is midseason trades are so hard, especially for a guy like that. I think he knows, like, you got to chill a little bit and try to push this thing through, because if this is going to happen, the summertime is better.
Yeah, and Sam, going back to May, you reported that the Bucks GM, John Horst, would go for blood, right? And we know what it took just to get a Desmond Bane. We know what it took for the Rudy Gobert. We know it's going to take a boatload, right? So does that make things a little complicated for teams that are short on assets?
100%. Yeah, I mean, that's where John is. First of all, John got an extension not too long ago. So leverage there on his part, you know what I mean? Backing from the organization, relatively new ownership group that knows they have to get it right, and a really tricky landscape because of the Bucks not having, assets of their own. They've got to recoup that stuff. So I think, that's where it doesn't matter how much pressure gets applied, in my opinion, to John and the group. They're not going to rush this thing. And Giannis's personality is still part of the equation here because he's just so far not showing to be the guy who's going to go the Jimmy Butler route and go ahead and make it so uncomfortable that they just have to do it. And even to a much less degree, De'Aaron Fox in Sacramento, when he, was clearly done with, with his Kings experience. Giannis is not doing that. Every time a story comes out that might tell you a little bit about how frustrated his camp is, he and his people and even, even his family kind of push back a little bit and say, no, we're okay. We're pushing. So that's where, for me, I'm still looking at the summertime.
Yeah, and even though, the Knicks continue to come up in the conversation around Giannis, but there's also other teams that can offer more for him, that have more things at play, that they can pull him in. When it's all said and done, in your opinion, what is the most likely place you think Giannis will land after all of this?
Lou, I think probably, honestly, Miami to me is pretty interesting because we know the culture, we know their appetite to go out and get star players, especially when it's a time when they're not at a title contending status. That's where they are right now, but they have a lot of good things going for them. The culture is intact. We know the interest is there. And if you're Giannis, there's so much smoke in the past about him and the Warriors, for example. But I don't know that he's looking to go that direction. And I think Miami could be a great fit if the Knicks thing isn't there. Because I think New York as a market, Giannis in his business sense is looked at that in the past. And it's something that people kind of sleep on with him is that he's one of those guys that whether it's a product of his upbringing or what it might be, he has no interest in leaving any money on the table. He wants to be the biggest kind of profile off the court that he can possibly be. So New York checks all those boxes. But if the Knicks thing is too hard to execute and Brooklyn being as much of a mess as they are, then to me, maybe he looks at Miami and tries to make that work, with some of those guys that they have.
Sam, switching lanes here a bit. My former team, the Kings, they're 6-18 right now. Front office is looking to blow it up. Fans are yelling at Zach LaVine to play defense. What is the morale like in Sacramento right now?
Yeah, I mean, you've lived it, DeMarcus. It's bad, not to this degree, certainly. It's pretty bad because when they made the trade for Fox, I think the mistake they made from the fan standpoint was they really framed it like, oh, okay, well, Zach LaVine is an all-star level player and who's going to allow us to remain competitive and push for the playoffs. And when that didn't happen and not even close in the early part of the season, the fans started turning pretty bad. And now you have the shifting of the storyline and the framing, which is it's time to rebuild. So that's a tough pill to swallow. Again, something well is that Vivek Ranadive is an extremely involved owner, I think, to a negative degree with this franchise. And right now, GM Scott Perry is trying to keep him at bay and convince him that this might take 3, 4, 5 years to turn around. So morale is bad. The team is fighting. They fought last night. They were down big against Indiana, and Russ had a really good night, and they just kind of fell apart at the end. But it's one of those things. I think everybody in the room knows what it is, which is that the vets are going to compete and be proud and do their thing. But this roster is just completely in flux. I mean, really, you're just talking about Nick Clifford and, a couple other guys who are part of the future. The rest of them, they're trying to test the market and figure out what kind of moves they can make.
So Zach, DeMar, Sabonis, they're all in the trade rumors. 1, 2, or all of them are moved by the deadline, you think? Or not?
I feel like it should be, it should be easy enough for DeMar to find a new home, I think, because what he brings. His contract next year it's tricky because he's got $10 million out of, I think, $25 million guaranteed. It's a partial guarantee. There was I reported on the Clippers' interest. I think that's challenging to get done. But he just feels like a guy that a contender could go pick up to try to add to what they're doing. The Zach thing is hard, man. Like it's just such a big number. And, there's been reporting that the Bucks have done some kind of quiet research on Zach. They've had interest in the past. That's the only real concrete team that I'm aware of that is even analyzing Zach's situation. So, I mean, to me, that one's hard. And then Domantas is a really big number too. And he's not only a big number, I think you would argue that his market is better than the other two guys. But the problem, like you guys were talking about Minnesota earlier and the way they function, right, with Julius Randle and kind of, a big run in the offense. That's Domas at his best, but there's only so many teams in the league that I think have any interest in having their offense be centered around a guy like that. So I've talked to his camp recently. It does not sound like they anticipate being moved at the deadline. It's more a message of patience. And he really likes living in the area. And as far as quality of life, he's doing okay. But that's why Scott Perry is asking for a long runway and a lot of patience here, is because the market for their guys, I don't think, is great.
So no untouchables, though. Everyone's on the table, or you think those couple young guys are kind of being held out?
Keegan Murray. I mean, they love Keegan. They just paid him. Now, if you have a chance to really make a difference, and this is me talking, their message is that Keegan is untouchable, but we all know that there's a threshold there for all but one or two guys in the league. They just paid him, right? Like they gave him the big contract where, he really paid him like a 1 or a 2 guy when, to this point, last year he was more a 3 or a 4 guy. And so, that is a guy that they're invested in. Keon Ellis is probably market-wise, who they're going to have no problem finding suitors for. I talked to somebody yesterday about, the Lakers are looking for a 3-and-D type guy. Could it be Keon? Could it be a Herb Jones? Somebody like that. So, you can find a suitor for Keon, but how much does that move the needle in terms of what's coming back for the Kings trying to turn this thing around?
God, I just feel stuck.
Yikes.
Here's the good news. We have not really spoken on the Grizzlies or Ja.
I love how sad you guys all just seem.
I know. We're going to try to pick it up.
Bummer segment
We're going to pick it up with morale right now, because we've said nothing about them for several days, which is a good thing, because nothing that we had said before that was necessarily positive. It looks like Ja's been coaching the team up. You've got Edie back. I don't know if this is temporary or has it sort of started to mend a little bit between all of the parties, including the coach out in Memphis.
Yeah, they came through my part of town recently, and I kind of enjoyed. Every once in a while, I kind of just, if it's a team that's been in the news, you just kind of watch and observe the old human condition. And man, Ja, like, he was in a good place. And, admittedly, considering how much time we spend talking and writing about the stuff that happened early on in the season when it seemed like he was ready to get out of Memphis and he was frustrated with the coaching staff, what I saw that night was a very different picture, where he was obviously hurt, but he's on the bench coaching guys up, literally even engaging with Tuamas Isolo about stuff, on the playboard, things like that. So talking to people around the team, Zach Kleiman, their GM, continues to not show much interest, if any, in moving Ja, and to tell people that they're trying to push this thing through. And again, it seems like Ja and even his camp and his family are trying to make it work. So I don't know. I mean, to take it back to the Minnesota conversation, hearing you guys break down all the things that the T-Wolves could use, and knowing that Minnesota is interested in Ja, I mean, that just seems like a perfect fit. So we got a long ways to go before the deadline, but they're in a tricky spot, because when they made that Desmond Bane trade with Orlando, the league basically felt like it signaled the beginning of the rebuild. But they've tried to, kind of stubbornly stay in the middle since then, and folks are a little skeptical that they can do that.
Yeah. So you're optimistic. You think once Ja's back in the lineup, the Grizzlies are they're more than likely they'll make a playoff push with him in the lineup, opposed to entertaining trade offers? That's what you're thinking?
I mean, Lou, you can do both, right? Like, you can do both quietly. I think, but yes, I mean, it's good for their leverage that they have a good team. They've been winning games without Ja. Zach Edey is a hell of a lot better of a player at the NBA level than people thought he was going to be. And they're good. So if you can have Ja be in a decent headspace and show that he's not 1 foot out the door or 2 feet out the door, and then you can have teams winning have them winning games, then the quiet trade calls, whenever they might come, are a whole lot easier because you can tell teams like we're not tripping here, like we're okay.
Right.
But it is a good place to be in that you have a good group that is functioning together, which was not the case early on.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Always good to have options, though, just in case.
No doubt.
Let's talk Jonathan Kuminga. He got a DNP Sunday against the Bulls. Steph didn't play. Draymond didn't play. Horford didn't play. After a strong start to the season, you know, things are kind of slowing down for him. Do you see him getting moved at the deadline?
I do. I just don't know where. The urgency is there. Everything seems to have gone south. It's just crazy how quickly things can change. And hopefully the dog's not too loud, guys. Sorry about that.
Love it.
Yeah. Kuminga it's like the first 5, 6, 7 games you were talking about, you know, an absolute 180 from before. He was, you know, running the floor. He's playing defense the way, you know, help side was an issue in the past. He was doing better at that. Steve Kerr was raving about him. And I remember talking to someone in the Warriors front office who was literally telling me that there's just not many people that we would trade him for right now with how he's helping our team. And now all of a sudden, it's the exact opposite. His body language is down. He's getting DNPs. You know, he's posting some cryptic stuff on social. And it's going to be hard because the market for him has always been, you know, based on his upside, right? And so Brooklyn was interested for a while, but they want to know, is that a guy that could be part of your core? No matter what he's done in the past, all of a sudden now, you know, when you see a guy on the sideline and you see the lack of productivity, it's going to make trade calls hard. And really, I think the more likely thing is, can the Warriors find a deal where it's not really centered on Kuminga, where he just ends up being a throw-in, you know, and a sweetener to get something done. That's the flexibility they wanted with his contract, that 2-year, $48 million deal. But you know, the optics right now are in the favor of whoever is, you know, calling about him, if that makes sense.
Yeah. My last question for you, Sam. Clippers, yikes, nightmare season from the
disgruntled all-stars this segment.
From the Kawhi scandal to how they handled the Chris Paul situation to now 6-18. Is there a world where they try and trade Kawhi and James Harden and rebuild? Like, what do they do? Because they are so built to win now, and they are not winning now.
I mean, there should be a world, 100%. There should be. I don't see it, you know, because they you know, Steve Ballmer, man, he has just got this inexplicable, in my opinion, borderline insane addiction to this group, if that makes sense. Like, I don't understand it, because when you talk about Kawhi and regardless of the truth regarding that scandal, the level of scrutiny and distraction that has come from, you know, from that partnership with Kawhi has been so problematic, but Steve has never wavered in his loyalty to Kawhi and continues to barrel down that road. You know, as an aside, I appreciated your guys' commentary on the Chris Paul situation when that went down, and couldn't agree with you more about how poorly they handled that. And the subtext there is like, I think that their, call it loyalty or like connection with James Harden, played a part in that situation. So they keep rocking with this group, knowing that you know, they've got all of their contracts are coming up in a couple of years, and they've been looking at the summer of 2027 for quite some time. And it feels like that's still the road they're going down, is sticking with what they have, as bad as this is. And it's been awful. So, you know, it's hard to explain how this group, I mean, especially in a year where they have the All-Star weekend coming their way. I mean, you talk about the wrong kind of mood to have when the entire league is going to be in your arena in February.
Man.
So, but no, I don't see him saying, oh yeah, it's coming up. I mean, and who knows what kind of, you know, revelations might come out about the aspiration investigation around then. You know what I mean? Like, these timelines are all starting to maybe collide together. But to the initial question, I don't see them blowing it up. I see them trying to continue to do stuff around the edges and pull this thing out.
Well, this was the saddest Sam AMICK show.
Yeah, thanks.
We're done, buddy. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, I tried to start it lighthearted. Y'all didn't want to play, so here we are.
What are you asking? The Kings, the Clippers?
I know. Next time we'll do all winners.
Can we talk
Sam.
Thunder next time?
Let's talk OKC. Let's go.
I promise you.
We'll have some fun.
Come back soon. We will do only the best.
Thanks,
We appreciate the time,
Thanks,
Sam. Thank
Sam.
you. We'll be right
All
back.
right, guys, be good. Appreciate it.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, and run it back.
And we start with Lewis. Here we go. Rich Paul on his first podcast with Max Kellerman, who's back, said that the Lakers are not contenders. They don't even have enough to get to the Western Conference Finals.
Sheesh.
Rich Paul said that. Lou, what the?
He got a lot of talent around the league. You know,
Dang.
his loyalty is all over the place. He got to rock with all of his clients and not just the big dog.
Wow.
I'm gonna buy a sample size. You know, I think they're starting 5. You got a lot of talent there, and I think those guys can wheel you to the finish line with what they have. Now, my issue is always gonna be, I look at depth, I look at the bench. What happens in those 7-8 minute spans when you have Luka or LeBron off of the floor, or you're rotating one of those guys in the playoffs? That's gonna become an issue. They got to beef up that bench a little bit. But as it stands, I feel like they can compete in the West, and they're gonna be one of the top teams that's gonna give OKC a run for their money. I still like Houston a little bit more. I still like Denver a little bit more. Obviously, OKC is going to be the favorite, so it's going to be a matter of who's going to match up with them, in my opinion. And I think the Lakers can be one of those teams if they shore up some of the issues that I feel like they have on the bench with their inconsistency with the guys that's subbing in. But when you have a Luka playing the way that he is, Austin Reeves playing the way that he is, you're getting the most out of Aiden. Rui has shown up to the party, and LeBron James being your Swiss Army knife, that's dangerous. So I understand what he's trying to say, but I'm not buying it completely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just him being so connected to LeBron, it's just a weird thing to say.
It felt funny to say out loud.
Your guy's team, but I agree with him. Like Lou said, there's teams in the West I trust more. Obviously, OKC, Denver, Houston, and then San Antonio with Wemby, I think, is a better basketball team than the Lakers right now. But with that being said, this team is still dangerous. Another thing he says, their style of play will be easy to guard.
Sure.
The problem is they get fouled so much, and they get to the free throw line so much, and so I agree with what he's saying. In the playoffs, when it's more physical and there's more freedom, it might be hard for them to score when you're not getting 40, 50 free throws a game. So that is an issue. But right now it's not an issue, and they're consistently doing it. Austin Reeves is having a career year. Luka's having an MVP season. All the guys that Lou mentioned. So they definitely have a talented team. Look, they're 17-6, so it's weird to say they're not a contender, but there are teams in the West that I think are better than them.
Yeah, it's weird for me too. Obviously, with all the talent in the starting 5 of the Lakers, you would think otherwise. But it's weird to hear Rich Paul say that with his biggest client being LeBron James. So to me, it's more to it. This could be strategy down the line. I'm not sure what the strategy is for, but I'm just kind of being optimistic about his words. But it's weird. But I do think there are better teams in the West, so it is some truth to it. So that obviously makes sense, but I don't understand why you would say that with being
So we're not buying, we're sampling.
It's also hard to take anybody out of the West other than OKC. We're looking at a historic year. It's the clear-cut best team in the West, clear-cut best team in the NBA. So, is there...
if you take it from that, it's not controversial. It's the context of who's saying it. We're like, oh, what?
Well, he doubled down and said that he can't get to the Western Conference Finals. So when you say that is a team that's going to compete against OKC. So that leaves the door open to compare teams.
Will LeBron hold a grudge against Rich Paul now for saying that out loud? Oh, I love the drama.
Somebody's known forever.
I know, right? No, it
care.
says, I love this quote. All right.
Yeah.
Darren Williams, we're sticking with the Lakers, by the way. He said that it looks like LeBron doesn't really F with Luka. He doesn't shake his hands, really doesn't help him up. And then went on to say that really isn't like LeBron. And then NBA insider John Gambadoro seemingly reaffirms this entire report in July that LeBron dislikes playing with Luka. That was the report he had back then. Mm-hmm. Boogie, what do you make of that? That's a lot of body language analysis.
That's messy high school, middle school stuff, man. It's a lot of guys that don't like each other. As long as they're doing their job on the floor, that's all that matters. So I can care less if they like each other. I can care less if they're best friends, if they hang out after games, before. None of that matters. As long as they win games together on the floor, and that's what they're doing, that's all that matters. The rest of that is just messy, stirred up.
Yeah, we tried to do this with the Celtics and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and it's like, who cares? And at the end of the day, I don't get this vibe at all. I see an energized LeBron James who's celebrating and chest bumping and crowning. I don't see that at all. Maybe there's certain scenarios where he didn't help him up a couple of times, or in certain situations. But listen, like I just said, they're 17-6. They're the 2 seed in the West, and LeBron James is kind of getting back to fully, healthy and playing back in the lineup. Like we just talked about, Austin's having a career year. Luka's in top 5 in MVP. So I don't see that from from my eyes, but clearly D Will did, but I'm not buying.
Boogie said it best. They don't have to like each other to be successful. They're the second best team in the Western Conference right now. I don't care if they're best friends. I don't care if they don't go out and drink beer and smoke hookah together. I don't give a damn. They're winning basketball games. All the personal stuff is for other people to talk about. Yeah. So I ain't buying.
All right, not buying that one either. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll wrap things up on the other side.
That's it.
Yeah, I got you.
Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back.
Shout out all the ex-ESPNers, because now we got Bill Simmons saying some stuff. Tim Duncan over Kobe Bryant all time, and he thinks that it's actually outrageous when people do it the other way. Interesting, Chandler. Duncan over Kobe, yay, nay. Buying it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. It's not that controversial then.
I don't think it is. I think if you look up most of the rankings, I think most people have Tim Duncan ranked ahead of him. And again, it's all different. Like our rankings will change based on, you know, the new age guys like Bill, Kareem, and Wilt that are going to be ranked up high on certain rankings. But when it comes down to Kobe and Tim Duncan, I think Tim Duncan is ranked ahead of him. And most people.
Anybody disagree? Agree. Oh, well, who's doing something over there? What are we doing?
We got to stop trying Kobe.
No, we're not trying Kobe. We're not trying. Are we not trying Tim Duncan?
No, hold on. Slow down, Chandler, before you jump on me.
Damn.
It's too many conversations around Kobe's legacy these days for my liking. Like, we know who Kobe Bryant was, and this has nothing to do with Tim Duncan. I'm going on a soapbox.
Oh, here we go.
It has nothing to do with Tim Duncan. We got to stop trying Kobe's legacy, comparing him to this person, comparing him to that person. When that man was alive and well, none of this was a conversation. His legacy wasn't confused. Who he was, his iconic status, his star status, none of those things were questioned or confused. It was either he was one, he was either two, he was either three. The end. It wasn't about Tracy McGrady. It wasn't about Tim Duncan. It wasn't about any of these people. So now all of a sudden that door is open because there's nobody to defend him but his fans and us. So I'm going to step up and say, let's stop this with Kobe. Leave him alone. Leave it alone. Allow him to.
Wait, so he's better than Tim Duncan?
I think so.
Well, there it is.
What conversation have we had? What conversation have we had that Kobe Bryant hasn't? It hasn't been LeBron, Michael Jordan.
Well, you know what?
Kobe
You know
Bryant.
why the defense of that is? Because nobody ever gives Tim Duncan the proper amount of respect.
That's a different conversation. We can give Tim Duncan all the respect and love in the world without bringing Kobe Bryant into that conversation.
But if we're doing a list of the best of all time, then we have to.
Kobe Bryant, on 99.8% of all of those lists, Kobe Bryant is in the top 3 of all of them.
But my point is that those lists are wrong.
If you look at the rankings of the NBA players, he's not top 3 of most of the rankings.
Whose rankings?
Just Google top 3.
I don't want to Google it. We, for a fact, 3 basketball players sitting up here. Which one of us is not going to have Kobe Bryant in our top 3?
Me.
That's it.
Me.
Top 3.
Top 3?
Ooh.
So you're.
And I love him.
So you're in that .2 I just talked about.
I think your numbers are wrong. I think your numbers are way off here. I think if you look at rankings.
I'll have
15
to have
seconds. Tim Duncan, Kobe. Who's higher?
Oh, y'all done arguing?
Yeah.
I wanted y'all to keep going.
You know what? We'll carry this.
Tim Duncan or Kobe?
We'll be back tomorrow.
Tim Duncan or Kobe?
See you tomorrow.